Second rehearsals at Eurovision 2018 continue here inside Altice Arena, and we have just seen Czech Republic, Lithuania, and Belgium take the stage. I think we should talk about it. Are you ready? Let's do this! First up was Belgium. She's really moved in the right direction. The beginning now starts with her hand out and then it moves to her eyes. It's mysterious, it's prolonging the introduction, and that's what she told me in our interview on wiwibloggs.com. That's why I'm saying it so quickly and naturally. She looked great. The white makeup keeps her pale, but now you can see her natural beauty. She looks much less like a corpse bride and much more like a goth glam princess. There's more dynamism, she's moving, the camera cuts are tighter. All in all, this has improved significantly. I think that we were worried for a split second about her going to the final. I'm not really worried anymore. I think the strength of her voice, the mystery of the song, and the magic of the avant-garde staging really work.
Yeah, they've improved a lot of the elements that weren't working. The makeup was made a huge difference. And it just, whatever way, it kind of accentuated the blue of her eyes and it made her eyes more striking. And rather than looking sick and miserable, like you said, she just looked kind of fashionably, maybe, how do you call it? Do you remember Kate Moss? Do you say heroin chic?
Yeah, heroin chic.
It's like that, but it's chic rather than junky.
Yes. And no rehab for her.
Yes. And then they've improved the lighting on the stage, and it's much clearer because during the first rehearsal, when she was walking along, she kind of blended into the stage, and you couldn't tell whether she was wearing a dress or a pantsuit or whatever, but all of that is fixed. She's getting her camera angles, her voice is perfect. Yeah, I don't have much more to say.
I feel like I'm being really negative today, but okay, so the intro is such an improvement, and that does help because it does get you interested at the start.
Yeah.
But I'm still just finding myself I can't remember anything after that introductory shot.
Echoes.
No, but I just don't remember any of the staging, and I've seen it now like 6 times, and I just don't remember that much more other than her sort of like wandering around the stage. I think that unfortunately, it's a little forgettable still, the staging. There has been improvements. I do think that the lighting, there were more bits with the lighting where it sort of flashed up behind her. But even then, I think that there's a lot of songs today which now, in that whole grand scheme of things, having, seen more, I do think that she'll be forgotten about. And that does pain me because I love the song and I love her. But I just think that, again, this is one that is on the borderline, but I think it's heading further down than it is heading up.
We will agree to disagree. I am keeping the faith in Belgium and my girl, Sennek. All right, we move on to Mikolas Josef, and there's been so much chatter, so much buzz about his injury, his 3 visits to the hospital. Some people suggested this was just like a rumor or a PR stunt to get sympathy. I had an interview with him, and let me tell you, I asked him directly, this is not a publicity stunt. This is very real. His skin looked pale, clearly because he's not been sleeping properly, he's probably very uncomfortable, and maybe he even had some medication. He looked pale. He's getting better. He's trying his best. But in the rehearsal, he was clearly strained. He was in pain. He was touching his back. He was not dancing. I asked him about the second semifinal. Are you going to move to the second semifinal? And he said they had thought about it, but doctors say he needs to rest his body and not do flips for several weeks. So an extra 2 days is not going to help him. He's going to have a long career after Eurovision, so he does not need to injure his body at this point. So he is wise to rest. They're changing the camera cuts so that he doesn't have to dance as much. They're letting the dancers do the dancing, and instead, they show shots of his ankles, shots of his face, and it works because he still has swagger and energy and charisma. This is a challenge, I'm not gonna lie. What we saw today, if that performance went to the semifinal, he would obviously not make the final, but his body will heal. They will get the camera cuts pacey and more interesting so he doesn't need to move as much. I don't know how this is gonna go on the night because he's been through a lot, but I'm hoping for the best.
The whole thing is so unfortunate because when it worked during first rehearsals, it worked really, really well.
Yeah.
And then today, Mikolas, he just looked tender, and presumably he's very bruised and battered. We can't see that because he's fully clothed, obviously, but he was like, even at times he was like holding his back, and there's little simple movements where it's kind of just hips from side to side, and like he was doing it so slowly as if like he was afraid that like another part of him might slip out of place or something. And the dancers are really having to carry it because we said it before, during the first rehearsal that when he's not dancing, the performance feels languid, and they're doing their best to make it work. And I suppose they just have to be clever with the camera shots and what they do. And they've kept the choreography. Some ways, like the backflips and stuff, added a lot of energy to it.
Yeah.
But he's had to remove a lot of the, I don't know what you would call it, like the backpackography, or like that has been cut down substantially, and he just has one moment where he flips it. And in a way, that's kind of beneficial because the backpack was becoming too much of the performance. So he just has it and he flips it, and that's the end of the backpack. But yeah, they just need to work on some way to integrate Mikolas into the performance and keep the energy going without injuring him, because we don't want to see him slip up on stage. Like, it would not be pleasant to see him hurt himself during the live show. And nobody wants that for his own sake.
Yeah, I mean, they did make the good changes. The widescreen shot at the start, and that kind of kept on going through. That does help because it meant that there wasn't as much focus on what he was doing, because it cut between people, and you can't see as much, which actually works because then you're not noticing he's not really moving a lot, or he's moving slower than usual. So if they do something like that, that might really help. He did have a female backing dancer with him today, but apparently that was just a stand-in because the other one needed to have an exam or something, I don't know. But I actually liked it because, it's all about a guy and a girl, the story. So actually having that kind of like that crew on stage with him actually works. So I don't know whether they should just keep it like that or bring the other guy back in. But yeah, you know what? Actually, I think that the very final run through was actually quite good, and he's going to have a few more days to recover. I hope for his sake that he can a little bit more, because he deserves it. He has really tried, and ultimately, a lot of people were complaining, doubting his injury. He's not that good an actor. Nobody could be that good an actor, because he was obviously in pain and unhappy, and he pushed through. Fair play to him.
Yeah, watch that interview on wiwibloggs' YouTube channel. He explicitly says this is not a PR stunt. You can tell in his eyes, in his heart, in his soul. He is disappointed by all of this. And so that rumor, we need to squash it right now. Finally, we move on to Lithuania. Ieva, what's her last name?
Zasimauskaite.
Oh, that is my boy. He's got it. This was as lovely and touching as it was during her first rehearsal. She didn't need to change much, and so she's largely kept it the same. She looks fantastic. Those close-ups of her face, of her lying on the floor with the atmospheric lighting. There is nothing like this in the competition, actually. We've now seen all of the rehearsals except for the Big Five plus Portugal, and there is literally nothing like this. It has very magical quality. And I really increasingly think this could surprise people and sneak through, because there is something about her voice that it sounds like it's from a different universe. Everyone here has a good voice, but hers has a special quality, and that is slightly different. It's a good voice, plus it has a special quality. It's very memorable, and she actually is very beautiful. I've never given her credit for this. She's stunning. The light hits her face, and it just works.
Yes. Everything was pretty much the same as the first rehearsal, only they've tweaked the overlay, the graphics that they had overlaying the performance, where we saw the children and the old couple and different images from throughout the life cycle. And now, instead of kind of looking like they were created on some cheap Microsoft program from 1982, they blend in nicely with the shots, and it looks more like, not exactly ghostly figures, but it looks more natural, like maybe an apparition or something. But one little thing is that they nearly have made them blend in too well. Whereas before they really stood out for the wrong reasons. Now you're kind of like, is there a graphic there? Oh, there is, if I look really hard. But that might be just a thing that we're looking at on a giant screen. Maybe it's easier if you're looking at it on television. But everything else was the same. And like I did the first time, I still feel that while she is lovely, she sings it beautifully, the sentiment is beautiful, it is very much the same song for the whole 3 minutes. It doesn't develop into anything more, and that's what disappoints me, because I want more.
I wish they'd get rid of those graphics. They don't need them.
But she was telling me in the interview that's her parents. That's actually her parents who are those graphics, and they do stand out, because I was in the I actually went to the arena to watch it, had a bit of an ugly cry again, because apparently that's what this song does to me, and I could see a TV like where the production was, and it did look quite good, but they do flick away too quickly. She said that they've been speaking with the producers, that they are making changes already, and that they want to make a few more, but they're working quite well with them. So fingers crossed that all comes together, because I do think that this is genuinely touching. I think it's beautiful. I think it deserves to be in the top 10, and maybe even more. Right now it's my second favourite of the entire competition, so I really hope that it does well, because I just think it's so beautiful. I think that last moment with her husband is amazing, and I will just continue to talk up this song as much as I can, because I genuinely love it.
Pass the tissues, he's gonna have a cry. That's what we think. What do you think? We have been busy with interviews, but we are gonna record the rest of these reactions right now, so stay tuned. These videos are coming to you hot from Altice Arena.
So make sure to subscribe and turn on the notifications so that you don't miss any of those videos.
And make sure to hit that like button.
We will see you later.
Bye.